advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
We are back with another episode of the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. A lot of exciting things to talk about. Noah and I were at the game yesterday in Evanston. The Illini win another Big Ten road game by the final score of 79-68. We have a lot to break down in that one, but all in all, it was a pretty exciting matchup. It was closer than we thought it might be in the first half, but the Illini ultimately prevailed. They faced a little bit of adversity. Noah and I had a good time. We got a chance to take a picture and talk to Jeremy Werner for a minute. We met Sahil in person for the first time. The Illini got the win, and the Lionkergel Summer Shandies were $7.99. So you cannot argue with
and the explanation
$7.99.
was because it's winter. I'm like, dude, I don't
It's
care.
summer in Evanston all year, I guess.
Well, it's
So
like you do realize that it's beer. I mean, I don't care what season it is. If it's $7.99 at a game, I'm drinking it.
in comparison, the Bud Lights were like $12.99, and then plus tax and tip is like $15 a beer. So uh good on Evanston and good on Welsh Ryan Arena for making a sale and getting the Illinois fans pretty hyped up on Leinenkirgels yesterday, because it was probably about a 65-35 split. I mean, the fan section, student section for Northwestern, the Wild side was filled with Northwestern students. Besides that, I think everybody else in the crowd was probably an Illini fan. And I said this to you yesterday. I do think that orange is a more it stands out more compared to purple or any other color, like bright orange, like the Illini have. But it definitely felt like more of a home game. It has for the last couple of the years when they play in Evanston. However, this time the Illini actually got the win. It was their first win in the last four trips. I think they had lost three previously in Evanston. It was an impressive game all around, and I've watched a lot of recaps and a lot of post-game interviews and stuff like that, and I've had a lot of people message me about this game and be like, "What were your thoughts?" Um, to me, it's just getting to a point with this Illini team where I'm kind of tired of hearing like, "Oh, Andre didn't have a good game. Oh, Zvonimir didn't have a good game." Like, we scored 79 points in a Big Ten game and held a team to 68. Our defense is good. Our offense played less than average, I would say, considering we usually score like 86 points a game. But like, not everybody can score 20 points on this team every single night. And that's just like getting to the point. Like, this team is just so well rounded that Keaton's going to score 20 probably every game. And he looked like a menace in the second half last night. We'll get to that because I want to talk about some players individually. Um, but Kylan looked like the leader of this team. Brad said in the post-game conference that Jake Davis is actually the leader of this team, and Jake Davis, I think, played really well at parts of this. He had a clutch corner three, and then like we were talking back and forth the entire game. He had some crazy wall-ups on defense where it was like, you're not getting past Jake Davis. This is a different Jake Davis than last year. We can go down
Yeah,
the list, man. They all played well.
Jake Davis, people, sleepers media, they're like, "Oh, Jake Davis, what are they talking about? It's Kylan Boswell, he's the one holding the team together." You will see in the video that we have coming out, probably right after this, our vlog at Northwestern. There's a clip of Jake Davis. He's telling the guys what to do in the huddle. He's being vocal. He's like, "We gotta do this, we gotta do that." So I do actually think he is active in the huddles and making plays and making call outs. And, I think he's comfortable enough in the system now to where he's able to do that. And that's a great thing. So maybe Brad wasn't capping after all.
I mean, according to Brad in like preseason press conferences, Jake Davis is the biggest like shit talker on the team, or the best shit talker on the team. I'm not sure how many of the players understand him on the team because half of the team is from Serbia or Croatia or wherever else in Eastern Europe. But nonetheless, Jake Davis all around, besides the scoring, like I know he's had 12 to 15 point games this year at certain points, but he only had 3 points and he was 1 for 2 from three, but he had, let's see, two rebound, or I'm sorry, he had one rebound, one assist, one steal, And then just defensively, I thought he really asserted himself on that end. There were a few times where he was the last man back on like a Northwestern fast break opportunity, and he would just wall up, go up straight, and no foul. And Northwestern, they do have a lack of size, but they couldn't make their layups on the other end when they tried to capitalize. And there were other players in this game I think we should get to as well, though. First of all, I think Tommy's back. I
Hmm.
think Tomislav Ivicic is finally back. He had 21 points yesterday, two clutch threes at the end of the game to really put the cherry on the cake or put the cherry on the ice cream, whatever you want to say, for the Illini. Kind of iced the game for them. 7 rebounds. I would argue that I think this game kind of proved like how dominant Merck is on the rebounds when he's not battling the flu or whatever he dealt with yesterday. But Tomislav, like when Merck isn't in there, God forbid Merck gets sick for a long period of time or something like that. Tomislav can hold his own still. And I think people were saying like, oh, Tomislav needs to get more rebounds because he's only averaging like 4 or 5 a game. But when he needs to get rebounds, he gets 7, and he had 3 offensive rebounds yesterday. He was 8 for 15 from the field, 4 of 10 from three, and what that tells me is he was 4 of 5 from inside the 3 point line, which I kind of am happier about because I'd like to see him get going from inside more than just shooting threes the whole time, which we've seen he can do, and he proved it yesterday. But nonetheless, it was great to see him back, and I think this Illini team's ceiling is so much higher when Tomislav is playing well. They don't need him to play that well every single game, but against a team like Northwestern, it's good to see him hit the ground running, and I think this bodes well for the next 2 games. But what were your thoughts on him?
I thought Tommy played really well. I thought that he found his rhythm. He seems to be back in his groove. He was, hugging Z and Jake, and they're all, smiling and laughing. So I'm happy for him. I think with Jake emerging and with Z emerging, Tommy's realizing, I don't have to, you know, be this, oh, I'm going to the NBA. I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to come back. I don't know. He can just get comfortable. It's not like, oh, all eyes are on me. I got to perform every night. But I will say this, going back to Jake Davis, he did hit that corner three, and he needs a celebration where he can incorporate the corner three somehow. I'm thinking he goes corner three, corner three. Every time he makes one, some variation of that at least. Or some variation of the Peter Griffin meme, potentially like the whoo, like that. That would be next level. Maybe a combination. Whoosh, and then he gets a technical foul. No, but going back to Tommy, I'm gonna want to keep, seeing more from him because one game it's not necessarily like, oh, he's back, he's back. But it was promising in the fact that it's what he did all year last year. I think that he can get back to that. So I liked it. I mean, I wish that people would appreciate him a little bit, like the Illini fans. Like you just got so many Illini fans that just gave up on him. They're like, oh, he's done. He's trash. He's trash. So hopefully this shuts a few people up at least.
Yeah, and there was 2 clips after the game that I want to bring up about Tommy. First one was I don't know if you saw like the cinematic highlights that the Illini Athletics page puts out on YouTube. At the very, very, very end of it, like the last 2 seconds of the video, Tommy running back into the locker room and he asked, "What can I smash?" Like as if there was a trophy for winning the game against Northwestern.
Today, he did that today or
Well,
for the
no, last
Northwestern game.
night. Yeah.
Wow.
What can I smash?
Yeah, it's a problem now. They're just destructive twins. They're trying to smash everything in sight. It's not good.
And then second clip I just wanted to bring up because it was funny. It was post game. Actually, Sahil got a question in. I recognized his voice on the like the YouTube post game with Brad. I was like, "Oh, that's Sahil." And his question was something about like how does it feel to have Tommy back? Like he had a great game for the first time. And Brad was saying something about like you guys are the one that are making crap up about how Tommy can't play. So I texted Sahil about that. And I was like, wow, he's blaming the media for that one, huh? And he was like, no, that was pretty funny. But basically, Brad just said like they never doubted him. Brad, a lot of times in post games, talked about how the other team's game plan was centered around Tommy and they double team him. I don't think Northwestern, they did double team him a few times, but they didn't have the size to really deal with that and make it effective. Arrington Page isn't as tall as I thought he was. I think he's only 6'10". He might be listed at 7 foot, but between Zvonimir and Tomislav, I think they contain him pretty well. Um, Now let's get to the stars of the game because I mean, arguably Tomislav was the star of the game. But I think just more impactful at least. Keaton Wagler scored 20 of his 24 points, 20 of his 22 points in the second half in 33 minutes. Um, just absolutely ice in his veins. And we were talking about it. We kept calling him Keaton Swagler during the game. The fans were agreeing with us. You finally see it from him. He has and ones and he's shrugging his shoulders like he's Johnny Manziel. He's hit that step back three in Martinelli's face and he kissed away to the fans with the 3 points up. Like he is starting to realize that he is one of the better players in the conference and probably the country.
He's
And
him. He's
if he's
him.
him. And I don't know if you heard before, we'll talk about adversity with Mirkovic too, but he was dealing with back spasms at the beginning of the game. And Brad said, like, are you good to go? And he just looked at Brad and said, yeah, I'm good. Like, no worries. And I guess it
If you
may have
if you think
affected
a
his first half.
spasm is gonna stop Keaton Swagler, nah.
No,
He's
probably not. Evidently not. But nonetheless, like, this guy has ice in his veins, and especially at the end of the game. Now, Northwestern kept it close in the first half. The Illini were up by 5 at halftime, and we thought it should have been a little bit more. Um, but they had a period in time where they were up by 15. We can talk about the refs in a second because I think the refs did another horrible job of officiating a Big Ten game on both ends. Um, but Wagler, like his step back threes, his ability to like get inside, pivot, kiss it off the glass, and draw a foul. And for a guy who's only 170 pounds at his size, like it's unbelievable to watch. It's sad because at this point I don't think we're going to see him at Illinois next year. I would love to see him for 2 or 3 more years, but I mean the fact of the matter is he's just one of the best players in the country now, and people are starting to be put on watch. He was the first Big Ten freshman to score 20 points in a second half. I think that was what the stat was. And it's funny because it's like, oh, he had a crap first half. He only scored 2 points. But I don't know. We're seeing a star, and the argument is not even is he better than Will Riley at this point this year than last year? Is he better than Kasparis Yakachonis? I think he is.
Yeah, he's better than any freshman Illinois had in a long, probably better than when I was a freshman. I mean, I can't think of a freshman that
Better than Io in the sense that this team is really, really talented and they're winning games. Io's freshman year, like he pulled a few wins out of his hat like a magician, but the team finished with a losing record. They didn't make the tournament. They made like they won one game in the Big Ten tournament or something like that. Like this is a guy we're giving the ball to every time up the floor, and we're gonna see if it works for them in March. But I want to make this next point too, and this is a perfect transition. I'm worried about the whole like let's trust Keaton Wagler, the 18-year-old freshman, down the stretch in March. I think that might blow up a little bit. And at times yesterday, we saw Wagler get a little ahead of himself, and he had 3 turnovers, which was uncharacteristic of him. But Kylan Boswell, our second guard, or I would argue probably the leader of this team. I mean, he played so well yesterday too. Martinelli scored 20 points, which is 4 off his average for the season. Kylan was guarding him 90% of the game. Kylan had defensive matchups on Arrington Page, a guy who's 9 inches taller than him. And then there were times on the defensive end where he would steal the ball away from a player and he would get hyped up like he just hit a three in someone's face or something. Kylan Boswell is he's starting to like there was that run he had at the end of last year in the tournament where it was like this is Kylan Boswell's team. I think we're starting to see him take over a little bit, and I really like that out of him. Were you impressed with his play yesterday, or is this just like typical Kylan
well, he
Boswell for him?
smacked that ball out of Martinelli's hands, and then we stole it, and he was like, "Rah!" So that really did hype
Yeah.
me up. But no, yeah, I mean, he's solid. He's just solid every game. I mean, rarely do you get a game where you're like, "Whoa, that was a stinker from Kylan." I mean, unless he's launching up 10 threes and he's missing all of them, generally you're going to get a pretty good game. I mean, even with the referees, which we should talk about that hook and hold because I mean, I mean, Brad even had a quote. He's like, "I don't know what a hook and hold is anymore. I don't know when they call it because it makes no sense." I mean, that's 2 games in a row that Keaton's been called for that. Rarely do I even see that get called, and 2 games in a row on the same player. So it's getting a little ridiculous. And it's on these challenges too. It's always on these challenges. It's like, how about we just play ball? These coaches need, okay, it's like Chris Collins. Yeah, he's a cool guy, but dude, you're gonna call a challenge. I mean, there was like 15 minutes in the game still. It's like, what are you
In
doing,
the
dude?
in the Wildcats' defense, the Illini also won a challenge on a hook and hold against Ben Humrickhouse. The officiating was pretty poor both ways, I will say. I agree with you. They should let it play on. There was the technical foul on apparently it was on Orlando Antigua. We both looked at each other and were like, Brad must have said something. There was like a no call on a foul that we both were, I think it was Ben
It,
went up
it
for a
was
layup.
that goaltending, I think, that no call on that
Yeah, it was
goaltending.
a it was in hindsight it probably wasn't a goaltending actually after looking at the replay, but either Orlando or Brad yelled at the ref and then Voldemort ref, I don't know what his name is, but Mr. Baldy, he called a technical on the Illini bench and it was just like, oh, are we really gonna let this game be close because of the refs again? The Illini did win by 11, so it wasn't that close in the end, and thank God for Thomas Love hitting some clutch shots, but now I want to get to a point real quick just because people have been making the point that Mirkovic didn't have that great of a game. Stojakovic didn't have that great of a game. Like I said before, I think it's just a matter of fact that like this team is so good that not everybody needs to have a great game every single time. But do you think they were like less than impressive, less than like what you expected out of them? I thought Stojakovic started out pretty hot. His intensity at the beginning of the last few games has been strong. Like I don't care if he's not scoring 20, but he scored like an opening layup and he was like screaming at the fans in the Wild side against Northwestern. So I like his intensity at the beginning of the game, and we do know that Mirkovic was under the weather, which is you said they should burn sage or something, and now they've got the flu. I really hope it doesn't spread because we definitely don't need like a repeat of last year's team getting sick. Um, but Mirkovic, I know I was there earlier than you. He was in warm-ups and then he wasn't. And then Sahil came over and we were talking and I was like, where's David? He's like, he's sick. And then he changed into number 52 at one point with a nameless jersey. So I don't know if he like puked on himself or apparently his jersey was torn according to the insight that we got. But it was a less than like ideal start for him. And we looked at each other a few times and we're like, this guy is running on fumes. Just the legs were not under him at all. But he still managed 6 and 5. He banked in a three and then he hit another. And then his rebounding, I thought was still, I mean, you throw David Mirkovic in there with the bubonic plague and he's probably going to get you 6 rebounds still. So, did you think their efforts or their performances were less than expected, or are you just like, no, this is just another Illini game?
Yeah, I liked Merck's effort considering he was under the weather and, wasn't feeling well. But he did look really slow in that first half. And I was like, he looks like he's going to throw up. Like, that's genuinely what he looked like. And then he switched jerseys. And I mean, he switched jerseys really early on because, like Chase was
Well,
saying, I was late to the game. Not my own fault. So I show up. At first, I buy a parking pass, because last time I went to the stadium, I parked in the parking lot. But oh no, it's under construction for the new football field for the 14 people that are going to go to that game. So I'm like, okay, the only parking pass is for the parking garage. Well, the parking garage is 15 minutes away from the stadium, but they're like, oh, we got a shuttle service. I'm like, great. So I hop on the shuttle service. There's a bunch of people waiting for the shuttle. We're all hopping on. This shuttle takes like 30 minutes to get to the stadium, and everybody on the shuttle's freaking out. They're like, get us off the bus, get us off the bus. We're gonna be late. And the lady's having a power trip. Bus drivers. I mean, God forbid the bus driver's like, you cannot get off the bus. And so we were all held hostage there. The game's going on. These Northwestern kids are next to me talking about web design, and they're like, this is the best website. No, this is the best website. And I'm like, oh my. And the kid thought that Stojakovic came off the bench. He's like, doesn't that guy come off the bench? So I'm like, these kids, they got to get their stuff together. And so then I finally show up, Merck's in 52. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So it was a hectic start to the game, to say the least. But all things considered, Merck played well. Andre barely played. I feel like he was barely out there.
They did
Petro
play
didn't.
Jake Davis quite a bit. Andre played 23 minutes. Jake Davis played 20.
And
So
Petro played none. And I don't know, Brandon Lee, I know that Brad put Brandon Lee in pretty early, I remember, and then he played a few minutes and then that was pretty much it from what I saw. So I don't know. It was a game for the starters for sure. And then obviously Merck off the bench playing 30 minutes or whatever that was.
it was the
But
Merc flu game. And the funniest part about it is like Brad apparently before the game, because I was talking to Sahil and Sahil was like, no, Brad said he's out. And then he comes trotting out of the locker room and he checks himself in. And I guess what happened was he got an IV and then he went out of the locker room and he looked at Brad and said, no, I play, I'm tough, I'm tough. Like those were Brad's words. Like I'm tough, I play. Which I mean, I don't know how you argue with a guy from Montenegro who's 6'9" and 250 pounds. I certainly would be like, all right, David, whatever you want. But that is the story of David Mirkovic's flu game. Not as impressive as Michael Jordan's, but let's hope he recovers quickly and that this doesn't spread to the rest of the team. Because the last thing we need is the entire team being sick against Minnesota. Um, I think that's a great segue into this game. Minnesota, we hate so much these 11 a.m. starting times. Unfortunately, we do play Minnesota on Saturday at 11 a.m. That being said, it is in Champaign, which I like. Um, I was looking through Minnesota's lineup earlier. My fault, guys. I know I said we'd have a guest for this one. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. I have a friend who is the biggest Minnesota fan I know, which is like one of one because I don't know many Minnesota fans besides him. But he is a huge Minnesota fan. Unfortunately, just like the timing's not going to work out. We won't be able to get two videos out of it in the next 2 days, so or 3 days rather. But he did give me the rundown on Minnesota. Two of their original
booty cheeks.
yeah, I mean, I was like, is there much to know? And he was like, not really. They have escaped with some pretty impressive wins this year. Their total record on the season isn't great. They didn't have a great start to their season. But nonetheless, they knocked off Indiana at Indiana. They have some other impressive wins, including Iowa, who Illinois just beat as well. But they played Chicago State and only won by 12 at the beginning of the season. And Chicago State might as well be the worst team in all of Division One basketball. So. They did beat Northwestern earlier at Northwestern. Um, they are coming off two losses though. Most recently, they lost to Wisconsin at home on a buzzer beater, but Wisconsin's pretty good evidently, and they played them really close. They also lost against USC by one. So this Minnesota team, coached by first year head coach Nico Medved, uh, they're not any slouch. I would say they're probably better than Penn State or they're better than Rutgers. They're probably better than Northwestern as well. Unfortunately for them, like I was saying earlier, my friend who is a big Minnesota fan, shout out Sawyer Paulson, um, he did say they are the two of their projected starters at the beginning of the season are dealing with year-ending injuries. So they're not deep at all. They only play about 7 or 8 guys a game. They're also missing two bench players to injury during this game as well. Um, and I looked at their height. Their tallest starting player is 6'9". Um, Now they do shoot the three ball really well, and they are a pretty good defensive team for their lack of size. I think they're like 69th in Ken Palm, and they only give up on average 68 points a game, which is 36th best in the country. So defensively, they are pretty strong. Um, and they do hit the three, but this is a game in Champaign, and I mean, it's the first Illini home game in a while. So I just think that the Illini with their size, assuming that there's no like swine flu going around with the Illini, um, if we're all healthy, if everybody's playing at their best, if they come out strong again, I think this is another 15-point win for the Illini. Do you have any early thoughts? What were your like thoughts off the bat when you saw this matchup after the Northwestern matchup?
I don't see how we lose this one. Genuinely, I mean, I was more worried about the Penn State game. This is the least worried I've been so far, and I mean, knock on wood, I don't. This isn't the team that I'm worried about jinxing. I think they're going to get the job done. They're really good, and if they do lose, then we can bring that conversation back up of like, oh, is it the 20 or the last year's team all over again? I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to easily win this one. I mean. You could see a routing tonight, or when's the game?
Win or like timing wise, it's
Yeah,
11
no,
a.m.
what day?
Oh, it's Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, dude, you kidding me? Saturday? Merck's gonna be fully good to go. He's going to have be well rested. Everybody's going to be well rested. I'm not worried about it at all. And I do want to say before we, I mean, we're already on to Minnesota, but we had somebody shout
Oh,
us out
yeah.
on the street after the Northwestern game. Whoever you were, let us know in the comments. You're the GOAT. But we're outside walking to the freaking parking garage, bundled up in our coats. I mean, you can't even tell who we
We
are.
didn't even have the tracksuits on anymore because Noah and
Well,
I did go full tracksuit for this
well, we
game.
had the tracksuits on, but they were just under the coats. You couldn't really see them. So we're walking, and this guy's like, Chillinois podcast. And we're like, "Oh." I mean, I thought Chase paid this guy money to say that just to get me excited. But
Hey,
no,
I had nothing to do with that because I was just as shocked as you were. So
I
if you
mean,
shouted us out on the street on your way back to the parking garage, please, like I said on our story yesterday, DM us because we
you
want
know who
to give
you
you
are
a
because
shout
you're
out.
the only person that's ever shouted us out. So you know
And you
who you
must
are.
watch our videos because you've seen our fa you saw our faces enough to like be like, oh, that's Noah and Chase. But that made us feel pretty special yesterday. So thank you for that, whoever you were.
Yeah, I
Uh,
that was great. But to get back to the Minnesota game, I mean, I don't see this one being tough. I think back in the day with the Dawson Garcia teams and some of those teams, they've got their guy, he can beat you. I don't think they have a guy this year. I mean, these games that they're winning, they're pulling them out of their ass. Let's be
If
honest.
they do have a guy this year, their leading scorer is Cade Tyson. Their transfer guard, he averages 21.1 points per game. I think that's best, or I think that's fourth best in the Big Ten.
Where did
Um,
he transferred from a Big Ten school, right?
let me pull that up. He was at North Carolina last year, and he
Okay, never
averaged
mind.
2.6 points per game. He was previously at Belmont, and then he went to North Carolina. I think when he went to North Carolina, he thought he'd have a bigger role, and then he just didn't really work out. So, I mean, he's playing really well for Minnesota this year. He's their leading scorer. Um, Isaac Asuma's their freshman guard. He's been a spark plug sometimes. It just depends on like how his consistency is going. But he averages 4.3 assists per game. Like I said, this team makes a lot of threes. So if they're going to beat the Illini, it's going to be because they're shooting really hot that night. I don't think it'll be best for the Illini to get into a three-point shooting battle with them. I think Minnesota could probably pull that one off. But it's just like I said before, the Illini have two 7-footers. They also have Merkovich, who's 6'9" and 250 pounds. They should dominate inside on the rebounds. They should dominate inside in the points in the paint as well. If they do anything else besides go to that game plan, I'd be a little bit like, what are we doing here, guys? Uh, I found out the students aren't back yet from Sahil. I made that mistake last time. The students still aren't back until like next week, so they probably won't. I mean, there might be more in attendance this game, but they're not officially back until Tuesday of next week. So won't be a raucous Orange Crush environment at 11 a.m. But game predictions for this one because I think it's pretty straightforward in my mind.
Yeah, I think the only way Minnesota wins this one is if they make all their shots and play just insane next level defense. And I don't know if they're that good of a defensive team. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure they can shoot the lights out. Any team can shoot the lights out on any given night. So you always got to worry about that. But luckily, Illinois' defense really thrives on limiting that three-point shot. So it's gonna be very difficult for Minnesota to win this game. I think you're going to see a lot of points from the Illini. I think their defense is also going to hold up, and I think they're going to limit Minnesota. Like I said earlier, I think it is going to be a routing. I think for sure double-digit victory for the Illini. If I had to put some money on it, which I don't bet anymore, but if I had to, I would probably say 20-point win, which is sounding a little bit cocky. And I don't think the line's out yet, but if I had to guess, I think the line's probably going to open at like Illinois minus 13, minus 12 and a half, maybe, maybe 11, something like that. But I mean, I would be surprised if Illinois doesn't win by at least 15 points. I don't see Minnesota being close. I mean, they would have to. The only way this game is close is if Minnesota is leading at the end of the game, and then Illinois comes back and it's like a Nebraska situation. If Illinois is up at halftime and if they have control in the second half, it's just not going to be close. I think Minnesota's going to get into foul trouble and Illinois is like the fourth best free throw shooting team in the country right now, I'm pretty sure. So I think Illinois is going to completely roll them. Final score, well, first I'll go MVP prediction. I'm going to say MVP of this game, Tommy. I'm going to keep rolling with it. I mean, because I'm going to go with a three-point shooter, and I'm going to go with somebody that's going to be able to space the floor, and that's Tommy. So I think Tommy's going to get it done. I'm going to say his stat line's going to end up being 23 points, 4 rebounds, not crazy rebounding night, and 2 assists with 2 blocks. Why not? Um, Final score, I'm gonna go Illinois 96, Minnesota 74. And I think it's gonna be a very happy locker room at the end of the game. Brad's gonna give some hugs. And honestly, the fact that we've won, because we talked about it. I mean, we talked about it however many episodes ago, this stretch. Oh, how many games can Illinois win? I predicted the Northwestern loss. I think you predicted them to win all the games. And if they can get past this Minnesota game, how many more games then until that Purdue matchup? Because I think they play what, Maryland? I mean, it's
Maryland, and then they play Purdue at Purdue. Yeah.
so I think they're going to win these next 2 games and then have a lot of momentum going into that Purdue game. And if I was a Purdue Boilermaker fan, I would be marking that one on the calendar for sure because that's usually a game that Purdue fans are, oh, Illinois, no big deal, we'll win that one. But I think this is the year that we get them. But yeah, I think we take care of Minnesota handedly. So that's my final prediction.
I like where your head's at on that one. Um, I think key point to this game once again is the team needs to start out hot. They were up, or actually, I'm sorry, the Northwestern game, they started out on a 6-0 run, but it was back and forth for most of the first half. That being said, I did like our intensity at least. They didn't start off slow and get down too big early. I think that'll be a key against Minnesota as well. And then just the talent on this Illini team and the height and the physicality inside, I think in the second half that'll really pull away, assuming that Minnesota doesn't knock down 60% of their threes that game. Um, with that being said, my score prediction here, we won't be at this one, so I feel a little bit more confident giving a score prediction. Um, I don't think the Illini get into the 90s, but 83-58, 83-58. The line right now, I think I saw it open up at earlier. I think I saw it open up at like 19 or 18 and a half
What?
points.
What? I just predicted
Yeah,
-11, but that's crazy.
I mean, let's see what Ken Palm has like the game score.
20-point spread betting, that's crazy. I mean, that's
Let's see.
considering
Yeah, I
Minnesota
mean,
is
Ken
not a
Palm
bad
has the
team.
game 77-59 Illinois, so 16, 17, 18. Sorry.
Almost,
My
yeah,
math
you
is
got
bad.
you got there eventually.
Yeah, my math is bad. So, nonetheless, I think it'll be a big win by the Illini. With that said, if the Illini do get past Minnesota and Maryland, the biggest, or sorry, the longest win streak the Illini have ever been on under Brad Underwood has been 8 games. So if they do beat Minnesota and then beat Maryland at home, it will be the longest win streak they've ever been on under Brad
Longest
Underwood.
win streak or longest conference win streak?
Longest win streak,
Wow, that's
8 games.
crazy.
I mean, 8 games. If you win 8 games in a row at any point this season, that's a
Well, I
lot.
guess Illinois is not known for scheduling cupcakes. Like DePaul, they can go 9-0 in a season playing Coppin State every game. So it's like, but
Yeah.
Illinois, that's tough.
Nevertheless, Noah, I know you have some like vlog or something you're probably getting out for the game. If you guys haven't seen the coverage we did yesterday, there wasn't a whole lot, but we got a cool picture with Jeremy Werner. Noah and I did have the full Balkan tracksuits on, and our guy Tony Bilic was in the crowd yesterday, or not in the crowd, on the bench for the first time. So, I mean, we're gonna have to keep track of a Tony Bilic win streak, but we're 1-0 since he's been sitting on the bench. I'd imagine he'd be at there next game in State Farm Center against Minnesota and then Maryland. I don't know why he wouldn't be traveling with the team at this point unless Fletch has him in like a dungeon where he's just like Do you think that's like a possibility where they just stick Tony Bilic and like the gulag at Albin, and they're like, you're not leaving until you're 270 pounds?
Well, speaking of Fletch, he made eye contact with me yesterday. I was
He was
watching
eating
him
Lou Malnati's pizza.
stuff Lou Malnati's pizza into his face.
Hey, they're breaking their ties with the Pizza Hut parking lot because they were eating Lou Malnati's pizza
I
yesterday.
mean, when you're in Evanston, you got to get Lou Malnati's. So we actually have Lou Malnati's in Rockford, so they have them everywhere, to be honest. But it's a lot better than Pizza Hut, that's for sure. Hey, maybe that'll be the Lou Malnati's parking lot now. Maybe that's where we'll fight people at. So I don't know, but no, I think honestly, the fact that Illinois, because these last two games, you go to last year's team, they lose one of them. They either lose the Iowa game or the Northwestern game. They just do. Even look at the Terrence Shannon year or the Iowa years. This team seems different to me. I don't know why. The rankings don't really reflect it, but something about this team, like when I watch them, they're a top five team in the country to me. They're not number 13. They're a top 3 or 5 team in the country. And it's tough with the AP ranking because it's like once you lose one game, man, you're freaking screwed. They really just bump you down, you know. So really digging this team right now. We couldn't have picked a better season to start an Illinois podcast. I mean, this is like they're surging. And
I
listen,
wanna I wanna make a point before we close here because you were like, this might be better than that team or whatever. Historically, first of all, Ken Palm, we're up to number five. So we're the fifth best team in the country according to Ken Palm. I know the AP rankings are a little bit different. But I was just kind of surfing through it earlier just because I was curious. The Illini's net rating as of right now at number five is 30.8. Michigan's at 36.19, so they're quite substantially higher than the Illini. But I would argue what the best Illini team of all time was the '05 team where they made it to the national championship. And that team's net rating, they finished at number two behind North Carolina that season, obviously. But that team's net ranking was 32.68, or net rating, I'm sorry. Uh, this team is 30.80. The Terrence Shannon Jr. team, that would have been 2023. No, I'm sorry, 2024. That team's net rating was 24.53.
wow, that's crazy.
Last year's team, 24.32. So this Illini team is approaching like historically one of the best teams of all time in Illini history. So you're right. When we said we got a good year to start a podcast, um, we'll see how they do next year and the year after. And if we continue this, we'll probably have to keep it going through the grind of the bad seasons to ever get popular. But we did pick a really good season to get into this. Um,
Well, that's the thing with Brad. There's no more bad seasons. I mean, even last year, we would consider that a bad season. We've still made the tournament. We still won some great games. We had record-setting performances in like that Oregon game. So if that's a bad season, if that's a down year, I'll take that any day of the week. You know, I think that this program is entering, you know, if you have another 5 years of like this kind of play, you're going to be a blue blood program. If you can get big name guys with NIL money, you're going to be a blue blood program. You're seeing schools do it in real time. You're seeing schools like Houston do it in real time. You're seeing schools like Alabama do it in real time. Look at what Nate Oates is doing over there. I mean, they're a freaking blue blood now. The top guys in the country want to go to Alabama to play basketball. That's insane. They want to come to Illinois to play basketball. Look at what Matt Painter's doing. They want to go play at Purdue. So it's
I think
not out of this world to imagine Illinois being a blue blood and the top guys in the country wanting to come play for Brad, especially Tyler. I mean, we'll be lucky to hold on to Tyler. People are like, oh, Tyler Underwood, nepotism. We're lucky to have him. He's recruiting Keaton. He's the one who's out there. He's the reason we have the number one offense in the country. So I don't see him sticking around too much longer. He's real sharp. So I think we got to take it while we can get it. But I love where Brad's taking this program. And all the people online, who are like, "Oh, Brad Underwood, he's terrible." I mean, most of them have shut up since last season, but man, was that annoying last year because it's just like, stop talking, like you don't know what you're talking about. When Brad got that extension, I was so happy, and there's people like, "Oh, mediocrity for 10 more years." It's like, dude, if we can get 10 more years of Brad Underwood, Illinois is going to be a household name. We're going to, people are going to want to buy Illinois jerseys who don't even, watch the team. They're going to know about us. We're going to be getting, you know, the Cooper Flags and the number one recruits. It's because nowadays it's just NIL money, man. That's all it is NIL money. We got one of the biggest fan bases. We got some of the biggest donors. So it's all uphill.
You are certainly drinking the orange Kool-Aid. I would say to be a blue blood, you probably have to win a national championship first, but
Yeah, and I think we can, dude. We can win one this year
I mean, it's a
easily.
possibility. Like I was saying, we're approaching historically good levels of offense and defense for the Illini ever. Um, but I would say we should probably just focus on going 1-0 against Minnesota on Saturday. That game will be at 11 a.m. on, let's see, I think it's on Big Ten Network this time. Big Ten Network. Okay, we at least got that going for us despite the early start time. I will make sure I wake up for this one because I don't want to miss another Illini game. Uh, the Iowa one will be the only one I miss this year. You guys have my promise on that. Nonetheless, both predicting a win, Noah and I each. We'll see if that comes true on Saturday morning. Um, any closing thoughts before we wrap that one up? I know you're excited to put the vlog. What is this vlog gonna look like? I know you were taking videos during the game, but
Yeah, the vlog is like 8 or 9 minutes long. It's actually longer than I thought it would be. I only thought I'd have a few minutes of footage, but it's pretty good so far. I'm editing it as we speak, doing some funny little clips and whatnot. So keep an eye out for that. That'll probably come out maybe a day after today. So we'll see. I'm trying to, start doing more vlogs. So if we go to any more games this year, we'll continue the content, the real life content. I think that those are the videos that people are going to enjoy. Obviously we'll keep doing these videos and people are digging them, but it is nice to get out there and change up the content a little bit, bring you guys some new stuff. So keep an eye out for that.
yeah, there's certainly talk about us going to probably the Big Ten tournament at a bare minimum, maybe the Indiana game. That's a few weeks from now. I think it's like early February. Nonetheless, I just want to say once again, whoever shouted us out on the way out of Welsh Ryan Arena, it was like right by the hospital, like parking lot entrance. And Noah and I were just flabbergasted. We were like, wait, what? Did that actually just happen?
We didn't
So,
even process it at first. It
no,
happened and we were
we
like,
should have run
yeah.
up and been like, who are you?
We
But
looked at each other, we're like, what the
if
hell
you're
was
watching
that?
this and you make it all the way towards the end, we'll have to like make this part or earlier a short so
You
we can
can
like,
come on the next episode, dude. We'll
yeah,
have
well
you
you
on the
can
next
like
episode.
you can join us and let us know how you found out about us and tell us how much you love our podcast if you
Yeah,
want.
tell us your favorite Chillinois moments, top 10 moments.
Yeah, just actually submit something to our email and like a slideshow of your favorite 10 moments. No, I'm
If
kidding.
anyone wants to make compilations of our clips and put them on social media, like they have those fan pages, we can, so if somebody wants to do that, I mean, we won't pay you any money, but we will shout you out all the time. So
We'll shout you out and maybe give you like
a wristband, we,
a
we're
wristband or something.
potential wristbands on the way.
All right. Well, Minnesota up next against the Illini on Saturday morning. Hopefully, this team goes 1-0 once again, but we will have a recap for that one. And then they get back to conference play pretty quickly after that. It's been tough to make these videos just because, like, they're Saturday games and then Wednesday games. So it's like we have to do a recap and a preview all in the same video, but we'll keep the content coming. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it. Nonetheless, go Illini against Minnesota on Saturday. ILL Noah.
I and I.